Ukrainian army has destroyed a rare Russian Zaslon naval radar system, according to reports published in Ukrainian Telegram channels on Tuesday. The video published by a Ukrainian military unit in Telegram app shows Ukraine targeting Zaslon radar, which was originally developed for the MiG-31 interceptor aircraft. This was the first case of Zaslon radar system being struck in the war that started in February 2022, Ukraine's Raid 413 Battalion, a unit within the Unmanned Systems Forces, which specializes in drone warfare, said. Designed for sea surface and signal environment awareness in active and passive mode, Zaslon system can detect targets at a distance of up to 300 kilometers and is capable of tracking 200 objects simultaneously. In another development, drone operators and air reconnaissance units of Omega unit under Ukrainian armed forces struck the BM-21 Grad self-propelled multiple rocket launcher in southeastern Zaporizhia region that was striking Ukrainian positions. There is an increase in case of Ukrainian troops striking expensive Russian military facilities in Ukraine and in Russian territory.
Ukrainian and international human rights activists have repeatedly accused the Russian army of deliberately killing Ukrainian soldiers who voluntarily surrendered. According to the norms of international humanitarian law, primarily the Geneva Conventions, such persons should be considered prisoners of war and provided with protection. Russian troops do not adhere to these standards, despite the international reaction. This is reported by the New York Times. 5 Ukrainian drone operators have shared accounts of watching drone footage of their comrades surrendering and then being shot. Some Russian servicemen are so unafraid of responsibility that they themselves post such videos on social media. Journalists recall the incident near Pokrovsk when 16 Ukrainians who had laid down their arms were shot on September the 30th. The video recorded by the Ukrainian prosecutor's office was of such high quality that one of the mothers was able to recognize her son. This phenomenon is especially horrific because of the ability to record events in real time. Whereas war crimes were previously identified after the fact, drones now make it possible to document human rights violations as they occur. Since August, according to the UN mission, 29 cases of killings of at least 91 Ukrainian servicemen who were no longer able to resist have been documented. By comparison, during the same period, 1 case of execution of an incapacitated Russian soldier has been recorded. Some military analysts said the Russians may have been trying to scare potential Ukrainian recruits out of joining the army and make Russian soldiers think twice about surrendering because the Ukrainians might want revenge, the article said. Drone operators who witnessed these events admit that the worst thing is the feeling of helplessness. We could do nothing to help our people. We did not speak polite words. We were full of rage and a strong desire for revenge, another operator emphasized. Let us recall that according to the SBU investigation on June the 17th, 2024, Russian commanders gave their subordinates the order to shoot a Ukrainian prisoner of war and then cut off his head and put it on the hood of a destroyed Ukrainian armored vehicle. This happened during fighting near the village of Staromayorsk in the Volnovakha district. The SBU identified the persons who gave the criminal order. The Russians have changed their approach to destroying Ukrainian surface drones after they destroyed Russian helicopters in the Black Sea. This was stated on air by veteran and director of the National Antarctic Research Center of Ukraine, Yevgeny Diki, on Radio NV. commenting on the destruction of 2 Russian Su-30 attack aircraft over the Black Sea. Then they set this task for their frontline aviation, raised Su, but even the fact that we forced them to change helicopters to Su was already sensitive for them for 2 reasons. One is economic. Sukhoi eats incomparably more than a helicopter. Every hour of flight, Su is an order of magnitude more than a helicopter, but it is also inconvenient. A helicopter is better suited for hunting drones, noted Dickey. He explained that Russian fighters are designed to destroy large-sized targets at the front. However, small drones at sea are a much more difficult target for them to destroy. However, despite everything, the Russians managed to learn how to destroy Ukrainian UAVs from the Su-30, noted Dickey. And now another page has been turned. We have reached the next level. To do this, we had to replace the Soviet R-73 with American AIM missiles. I don't like this, because everything American is not guaranteed now. But it seems that they managed to pour in quite a lot of AIM missiles. There is hope that there will be some reserve, even despite all the nuances with Trump. 2 aircraft in one day is absolutely clear proof that they are defenseless against these missiles, added Dickey. He said that on May the 9th, the Ukrainian Defense Forces are unlikely to strike at the parade in Moscow, and not because the Russian air defense works so well. It is precisely the Russian air defense that demonstrates its powerlessness and helplessness the further it goes. It seems that Moscow has finally understood this. We have already discussed their unsuccessful attempt to outwit us diplomatically. That is, to protect Moscow from the sky by declaring a 3-day truce. It is very good that we were able to outwit them and instead offer a 30-day truce. And it turned out that they are no longer ready for 30 days, said Dickey. The veteran noted that Ukraine has all the technical capabilities to strike Moscow on May the 9th. Similarly, according to Dickey, Ukraine has every reason to strike the columns during this parade, since this can quite easily be considered a military target. But yesterday, Xi Jinping confirmed his participation in the parade. I'm afraid that in this case, one elderly Chinese man will do what the entire Russian air defense cannot do. He will make sure that we don't attack this parade. Dickey added,